So yesterday we were able to go through how we can download our APIs, set up our workspace, set up our collections, our sub collections, which are the user, register, and login. And then we're able to make different kind of calls. We've seen different kind of calls we can make from here, and we're able to also make different calls such as get request, get requests, post requests, which is this, and we also did patch deletes. Okay, this is post as well. So if you notice, okay, each time we are making a request, if I click on this, you can see we kept on, entering the base URL, which is this, as well as the endpoint. Okay, so now, in a development world, we always try as much as we can, not to duplicate or repeat things over and over and over again. Okay, so today what we're going to do is I will show us how we can set up our environments. Okay, so we can have our global environment, we can have our base URL saved somewhere so that we can just implement, instead of having entering all the base URL, we can just have the base URL. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing is to add our endpoints. And the reason for this is sometimes you have your base URL. Sometimes the endpoint won't change, but the base URL will change. So when a base URL change, that means you have to start going through all the requests you've made to change your base URL. Okay, so if it's an endpoint that change, it's just one endpoint. So hardly you will get all the endpoints for all your APIs changed. Okay, if it's going to change, it will be just one endpoint that will change. So all you need to do is just go and update that one endpoint. But you can imagine you have over 250,000 or 200,000 requests you have saved on your workspace, and the base URL change. So that means you have to keep going over all your requests to change them, and that is a huge job. Okay, but if you have it set up somewhere on your environment or a variable, so all you need to do is just go there, update it, and every other one will be fine. Okay, so another reason where we have to set up our environment is sometimes you could have different environment that you need to run your API. You could have development environment, you could have test environment, and for each of these environment, the endpoints will be the same, but the base URL will differ. So you could have for your test environment, you could have https:/development, on / for example, or dot or underscore regress, for example. That would be for your test development. So for your test, you could have http QA underscore whatever your domain name is. Okay, you could also have staging where you have http underscore. You could have pre-live or pre-prod. Okay, so now how do you don't want to start making, let's say for example, you want to test or run your API across all these different environments. So you don't want, if you will create a request for test, you will not create another request for. You could have one request, one Postman test script, and you cannot use that one request, which is one endpoint, one request, and run your test on different environments. Okay, so let's go and see how to create an environment. So now, to do that, the first thing you need to do is to click on your environment. You see, when we created a collection, we clicked on collection. When we created workspace, we clicked on workspace. So now we're going to create an environment. So we're going to click on environment. So if you see, click on environment, we'll have global, okay, and you can see create environment. So this is a global environment. It means that all the requests here will make, all the requests in this collection will make use of this setup that we're going to make, or environment variable setup we're going to make. Okay, so you can either click on create environment, or you click on this. You can see create new environment. So whichever one you click is fine. So when we click on that, okay, you can now go ahead to name your environment. Okay, so we want to name it. We want to name this environment as test environment. Okay, so we want to name it as test environment. You can see test environment. Then it's asking you to enter your variable. Okay, so this is where your variable name will be. And our variable name, we want to name it as what? Base base URL. Okay, so that's what we want to name it, base URL. So you could either make it secret or you can make it default. Okay, so we're going to leave it default. Then you can enter the value. Okay, so the value of our variable will be, let me go here and just copy it, will be this. Okay, will be this. So I'll come back here and I'll just paste it. So this is the initial. You can still paste it there as well. So once you have done this, remember the variable is base URL and the environment is test environment. Okay, so I'm going to save. So once I have saved that, I have created a test environment. If you want to add more variable, you can do that. If there are other variable you want to set. Okay, so now this is our test environment. So this base URL is our test environment URL. So let's say, for example, you have another environment like your pre-prod environment. You can create another environment and call it pre-prod and put the base URL for your pre-prod. Okay, if you have your staging, if you have your development, you can also do that. Okay, so now if we go back to our collections, we'll come back to our collection. Let's say when you now come on this one, so instead of having this URL, so all you need to do is to remove the URL. Okay, remove the base URL and then put double curly braces. So you now put double curly braces in this format, and then another closing double curly braces. And all you need to do is to enter the name of your variable inside, which is this base URL. Make sure they are the same. Okay, you enter it inside your double curly braces. Okay, so if you haven't done that, okay, you can save and send your request. Okay, we want to make sure. Okay, now you can see it's returning, is saying get a DD info. Okay, it's coming with an error message. You can view the console. I already know what the issue is. You can view the console to know what the problem is. So the reason why that did not run is this is a variable that was set up. Okay, but we have not added the environments. No environment selected. So we have to, so this is the base URL. We have to select the environment, okay, that this is running against. So you have to come here, click on this drop down. You can see test environment. You click on it. You make sure you select the test environment before you run. So if you run, you can see it's returning. Okay. So let's say we have other let's say we have other environments set up. You can also run your test against different environments, but we don't have any other environment set up. Okay. So that is how to use environment variable. So the good thing, like I also mentioned, if the base URL changes, you don't need to go. So let's change it for all these ones. So let's apply it to all the requests that we have made. So this is a request. Going to remove this and then change it and save. Going to come on this one and save. We'll go through all our requests. Save this as well. Save that. And can go through this ones as well. And save that as well. Can go through this one. And also save. Okay. So if we click on this, you can see 400 is expected. That's what we're expecting. Okay. So now, so you can see we have configured our environment where we have, if we click on it, we configured our environment where we have our endpoints, our base URL. So now, and if you go to our collection, you have this. We're using those variable that we set. So let's say, for example, okay, that the base URL has changed. We don't need to go through all these requests that we have to change the base URL. All we need to do is go on the environment, okay, click on this test environment and just change it here. only changing it one place. Once you've changed it here and you are running your test anywhere here, it will automatically pick up that base URL that we saved. Okay, so that is it for environment setup. Okay, so things that you need to bear in mind is make sure that when you are running it against the test environment. You have to select the environment you're running it against. Okay, so that's it for that.